Statutory interpretation. Are you familiar with the complexities of statutory interpretation in the United Kingdom? This video delves into the traditional techniques used to interpret statutes and how they are applied. Discover the intrinsic and extrinsic aids that assist in understanding legislation. Statutes of law, also known as legislation, are the written laws of the United Kingdom. They are created and implemented by Parliament and enforced by various authorities. Interpreting legislation is not always straightforward, requiring judges to apply rules of statutory interpretation. Complexity and uncertainty can arise in applying the law. Legislation sometimes lacks clarity due to ambiguous language or new legal developments. Under the literal rule, words in a statute are given their ordinary meaning. They are read literally, without further analysis. An example is the Berryman case where a railway worker's death was not compensated due to literal interpretation. The relevant act required lookout points for relaying or repairing, but not oiling. This outcome was harsh and unjust. The Golden Rule prevents inconsistency and absurdity in literal interpretation. It can be applied narrowly or widely. In Adler v. George, the defendant was found guilty despite the literal wording. The wider approach allows modification to avoid absurd results. In re Sigsworth, the rule prevented a murderer from inheriting the victim's estate. The mischief rule addresses unforeseen loopholes or ambiguities in legislation. It was established in Hayden's case in 1584. Courts consider the common law prior to the act and identify the mischief it aimed to remedy. The rule is narrower than the Golden Rule. It is applied to determine the statute's intended remedy for a defect. Judges have discretion to apply rules of statutory interpretation as needed. Each rule has imperfections but aids in achieving Parliament's intent. These rules provide a framework for courts to follow. Judges may use intrinsic and extrinsic aids for interpretation. This reduces the risk of contradictory interpretations across legislation. Intrinsic aids help put an act into context by examining elements within the statute. These include the long and short title, preamble, and definition sections. Schedules and headings also serve as intrinsic aids. They are considered more respectful to Parliament. Intrinsic aids provide definitions and explanations within the Act itself. Intrinsic aids respect Parliament by looking within the Act. They are quick and easy to reference, such as marginal notes. Interpretation sections and schedules provide clear definitions. They offer common sense guidance, like Section 10 of the Theft Act. Intrinsic aids are designed to clarify meaning directly from the statute. Problems with wording may not be resolved by intrinsic aids alone. Ambiguities in the Act may persist, as seen in Allen. Internal aids might not suffice if external context is needed. Judges may struggle to avoid unfair decisions without external references. Intrinsic aids provide limited scope for interpretation beyond the Act's text. Extrinsic aids help contextualize an act by considering external sources. These include dictionaries, legal textbooks, and other statutes. Reports from the Law Commission and international treaties are also used. Explanatory notes accompany acts passed since 1999. Extrinsic aids enhance understanding beyond the statute's text. Dictionaries and legal textbooks assist with literal interpretation. Earlier acts help trace the mischief an act addresses. Law Commission reports provide context for legislative reform. International treaties ensure alignment with global agreements. Explanatory notes summarize main provisions and background of the Act. Using a dictionary is quick and easy for interpretation. Hansard clarifies parliamentary intent, as noted by Lord Denning. Europe allows background papers for international rules. Extrinsic aids provide clarity in complex legal contexts. They offer insights beyond the statute, aiding comprehensive understanding. Hansard may not reveal Parliament's full intent. Restrictions limit courts to ministers' statements which may not reflect consensus. Ministerial statements might lack clarity, as seen in Deegan. Courts risk undermining Parliament's authority with external aids. Extrinsic aids can challenge the Act's status if misused. In Adler v. George, the defendant obstructed within a prohibited area. Charged under the Official Secrets Act, the literal interpretation was challenged. The court found him guilty despite the Act's wording. This case illustrates the Golden Rule's application. It highlights judicial discretion in statutory interpretation. Whiteley v. Chappell involved impersonating a deceased person to vote. The literal rule was applied, as the dead are not entitled to vote. This led to an absurd result demonstrating the rule's limitations. It emphasizes the challenges of literal statutory interpretation. The case underscores the need for judicial discretion. Davis v. Johnson highlighted the use of Hansard in interpretation. Lord Denning advocated for its use to illuminate parliamentary intent. The case demonstrated the advantages of extrinsic aids. It also showed the limitations imposed by Pepper v. Hart. This case underscores the balance needed in using external sources. Fothergill v. Monarch Airlines involved international treaty interpretation. The court used extrinsic aids to align with European rules. This case highlighted the importance of background papers. It demonstrated the need for consistency in international contexts. The case underscores the role of extrinsic aids in global legal frameworks. Pepper v. Hart set a precedent for using Hansard in interpretation. It allowed courts to consider ministerial statements for clarity. The case provided a framework for using extrinsic aids. It also highlighted the limitations of relying solely on Hansard. Pepper v. Hart remains a pivotal case in statutory interpretation. Research the following cases to understand statutory interpretation: Adler v. George, Hansard Statute, and Cornwall C.C. v. Baker. Whiteley v. Chappell and Cheeseman and Vaughan offer insights into literal rule challenges. Davis v. Johnson and Fothergill v. Monarch Airlines highlight extrinsic aids. Pepper v. Hart underscores Hansard's role. These cases provide practical examples of interpretation. Create a mind map to visualize statutory interpretation concepts. Include rules like the literal, golden, and mischief rules. Add intrinsic and extrinsic aids for comprehensive understanding. Highlight key cases like Adler v. George and Pepper v. Hart. This visual tool aids in grasping the complexities of interpretation. Conclusion. Understanding. Statutory interpretation requires familiarity with the different rules, literal, golden, and mischief, each serving a unique purpose in clarifying the law. Intrinsic and extrinsic aids provide valuable context, while case studies show how these principles work in practice. Together, these tools create a framework that ensures legislation is interpreted fairly and effectively. Thank you for watching the video.